Guys, I hope this StreamYard is working. I hope the audio is working. I'm telling you, I am so tired. I gotta tell you, I'm tired of these gang stalkers. This is a test to see if this StreamYard is working. Okay, I had to come on my phone and do StreamYard. I tried to do a live earlier. On my tablet, and well, it looks like that has been compromised. I want to say this too. I don't know who is subscribing to my page, and then I don't know what eyeballs are over here on my page, but if you're not on this page to understand about gang stalking, what's going on with gang stalking, and what's going on with me as far as gang stalking, if you're on my page just to eyeball it and subscribe and unsubscribe, could you stop messing with my algorithms? Yeah, I don't get that. I don't understand. It's been like that for the last, let me see, I would have to say the last month. I don't know who eyeballs are over here subscribing, and there's nothing here to see. There's nothing here to see unless you want to truly understand the program of gang stalking. Okay? Other than that, there's nothing here to see. Hello, how you doing? Uh, there's nothing here to see. I have had, and I don't know if people are doing it on purpose. I don't know if any of you chosen ones or TIs are having people subscribe to your channel and then unsubscribing, subscribing and then unsubscribing. And I understand that happens, but it's actually as if people are trying to gather some type of information or to come onto your channel to mess up your algorithms. And I've been noticing that happening for, I guess, the last month or so. So, look, people, whoever's doing it, there's nothing here to see, so you can move along. It's very irritating. And then when I came home, I'm going to show you guys this really quick. I tried to do a live on my tablet, and I don't use my tablet for nothing other than to look at YouTube, videos or surf the web, basically, but nothing personal. Guys, your tablets, your phones, and all of that is connected. But this is what I'm going to show you really quick. I'm going to turn this around and show you, because I tried to go live. They were messing up the audio. It was a hot mess. There's nothing over here to see, people. Keep it pushing. Okay, let me turn this around. I want you guys to see this really quick. Hold on. That was my bad. And this is so outrageous. Let me see. General. No, I don't never know how to turn this thing around when I wanted to get it turned around. Turn around. All right, here we go. Okay, guys, so check this out. So this is what I was using earlier today. And if it's fuzzy, that's because of the camera. But look, this gives you a history of what is, going on this device. StreamYard is stuff on here that I hadn't even looked up. Okay? Signing into your healthcare, we have to, like, if you want to check your healthcare stuff at the hospital or doctor that you went in. Remember, I told you guys I had went in and got some stuff done, so you can check your charts. How is this stuff on here? I never used this to sign in on. That is so crazy that people are so ingrained into your everyday life that they have to go in and try to pull up your history. And I just happened to get on here because I was on StreamYard and I was like, well, what is going on with this StreamYard? And happened to get this pulled up. Okay. Name right here. And this happened. All this history pulls up. And I found that very interesting. Let me see if I can go. Get out of here. Hold on, guys. Let's see. Can I go back to StreamYard? Done. Okay, I want to show you guys StreamYard. And I want to show you guys how on here I'm using StreamYard on my phone. It says allow the microphone. And you see this mic dead in the water. I'm talking. You see I hit allow microphone. Let me turn this back around so I can get into this conversation. Let me get into this let me get into this conversation. Turn this back around. It's pitiful. It is. It's pitiful. I hope you guys got to see how gang stalking is a joke. It is truly a joke. Gang stalkers are a joke. I swear to God, they have to be the weakest people on the planet Earth. The weakest people, the weakest link. If you knew anything about Sir Isaac Newton, and they always talk, he was talking about finding the weakest link. It has to be the gang stalkers and their family. Who and for what reason do you try to block people in any way possible? And you can't, because you're not God. You're not the Most High. Do you understand that? No, they don't understand that. They don't. But it's okay. As you see everything that's happening in the world, time is ramping up. And so the devil must enjoy his stay here on this planet. I have come to realize when I came on live and I talked about what has taken place, I know a lot of chosen ones and a lot of TIs. We talk about gang stalking and the negative aspects of gang stalking. And when I came on live yesterday at work, I was telling you guys the good news of what has happened. And a lot of you chosen ones and your TIs are going to see good things happen in your life. You're going to start seeing good things manifest in your life. But you have to get out of every day thinking of negative and the negative things around you dealing with gang stalking. Okay. Um, I brought up the fact that whoever is coming on my channel, only to eyeball. But see, they're not eyeballing instead, because if you're going to come and subscribe, thank you. You're welcome to stay. Maybe you might get a change of heart and get out of that program that you're helping to aid in people's downfall, which is not going to happen because the Most High God is in control. But I'm getting people that's just coming on, subscribing, seeing if I say something, I don't know what they're looking for, and then getting on. And it just makes my numbers go up and down. I don't know if they feel that that's going to get me put into a shadow ban. I don't know what they're trying to do, but it's sad that these people who have signed up to be a part of this program are that's their life. That is actually their life. A lot of us in the beginning we speculated on, maybe they were getting gift cards. This is how they're getting paid, but to get a gift card is not enough for, I would say for me to want to be so ingrained in somebody's life, so ingrained that I'm reporting back and forth regarding minuscule things that go on in people's lives, like going on to someone's tablet or phone just to get information that's that has nothing to do with nothing, that you couldn't use to do anything with. You see what I'm saying? It's pitiful. It's pitiful. But like I said, when I came on yesterday, I have been fighting giants, but for most of my life, it's always been a battle in some way. It's I've had small battles. This one was more like a war, but I started to see that the times are changing as the end times hastens, as the time speeds up, because people are being moved out of the way for the chosen ones, for the TIs. So don't always keep your mind focused on what these idiotic people are doing. They have chosen their God. Okay, they have chosen the side that they want to be a part of, and their demise will hasten. And I've seen that. I've seen where everything from trying to work you to the bone, work you to where you don't even have time to decompress. You understand? Work you to where you're always taking on different or more jobs to make ends meet. This to them is maybe a joke. Maybe they find all of this funny, hilarious in some aspects. But what they don't understand is whatever doesn't break you only makes you stronger. So every test, every situation, simulation that they put you through, and they continue to see that we as chosen ones, we as targeted individuals, we surpass each and every test. If you stick to the fortitude that you have inside and the honor and integrity that you have inside of you and push towards the mark, there's nothing they can do but sit back every time they have put an obstacle in your way. That's all they can do, is sit back and try to think of the next obstacle that they can think of. I would not want to waste my time thinking of ways of to possibly irritate someone, possibly try to make their life a living hell. So that's why I say to you, chosen ones, and you targeted individuals, it is time for us to start thinking more on the positive things in life than this negativity that these perps want us to concentrate on. This morning, well, at night, when I go to sleep, either I will play I'll maybe be looking at a chosen ones or a targeted individuals show, one of their videos that they've shown, or something related to a preacher, gospel, something positive before I go to sleep. And sometimes, with your computer, it'll roll into the next video. So, nevertheless, this morning I woke up to a positive message that was being broadcast. And I sat and I listened to the message, and it made so much sense to me. I don't know if I can even pull it up. And I'm not even going to try because I'm not even going to mess with that right now. That's just, but the message was just what I was relaying to you. Um, I can't recall the man's name, but I'll probably try to get a clip of it just so you can hear it. He was explaining to his audience that when we think of anything in our life, and actually being on this program, being a chosen one, being a targeted individual, a lot of us have gone through some level of trauma, you see, and they have as well. This is where you get the empathic people and you get your narcissist people. Both parties involved have gone through some form of trauma. So the gentleman that was on the program, he was explaining that when we focus constantly on the trauma that we have gone through. And see, it's a difference between the target individual, the chosen one, and the I mean the narcissistic person, the person with personality disorders. The person, they don't have to necessarily be a narcissist, but they have narcissistic tendencies or they have some aspect of narcissism. So they're focusing on the left-hand side, okay? Which is joining organizations and groups dealing with targeting people, or groups where they have to be a part of somebody, something to feel like they are somebody because they can't stand alone. They never dealt with their trauma, or they dealt with it in a negative way to where that's how they express themselves and it has to be negatively. People who are empathic, people who have had trauma but have overcome it or dealt with it, but relaying or displaying positivity, these are your empathic people. Okay. This gentleman was saying in his broadcast that if we constantly focus on the negativity and the trauma, your brain actually starts to stay in a loop, in a loop like this. And I don't know if you all realize it, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. Um, because when I come on here, I give different messages regarding what's going on in the world, but not always about gang stalking, you see. And when he was saying that, when we as chosen and target individuals, if we are constantly thinking along this loop, this circle of what is going on with us in life, or what is going on with other targeted or chosen individuals, your brain actually can only start to feed off of that loop. And with this program, not only being spiritual, but being psychological, that's what made it hit me like a ton of bricks. Wow. They want you on a loop of negativity, a loop that keeps you on a hamster wheel. Never manifesting, never, and I don't like to use that word manifesting, but a lot of you all understand that word, but never, because see, the Most High says you use your voice to bring things into, because we're all creators. So you use your voice to create, and for most of you guys, that's manifesting, okay? That's bringing into fruition what you want to happen in your life. But with them keeping us on a cycle of thinking of negativity, thinking of what they're doing to us. And I understand for the people who are just coming into the program. And because we all did it at some point in time, got on YouTube. We don't even know, and I'm going to say this, I think, in my opinion, half of us don't even know how we got on to the side of the target individual channels. Because I can't tell you how I got onto the target individual channels on YouTube, but I made it onto this side of YouTube when I first was looking and found content. So, content that was helpful for me to understand what was going on with my life. But as I sit here and think about what that man was saying, were we driven over to this side of YouTube? Was that a master plan? Because I think about, I never knew anything about gang stalking. I never heard of that terminology before. Um, I've heard of stalking. I've heard of gangs. I've heard of community watch, but in different aspects of the words, not as gang stalking as we know it today. So therefore, were we guided over here to be continuously on a loop? Is this part of the psychological game that's being played with our minds, you see? And just like if you've ever, like this drink, if I drink this Arizona and say then a few minutes later I go on to Facebook and I see advertisement on Facebook, or if I was still watching TV, I would see advertisements of Arizona drinks, because everything around us is recording us in some aspect. So then that way they can target what they want to advertise to you. Once our targeting went from covert to overt, meaning we know now what's going on, well, we led onto these YouTube streets to get some form of understanding, but then some of us get trapped. I don't want to say some of us, I'm going to say all of us get trapped on this cycle. Now, I'm just bringing this all to a whole of what I'm seeing. And it's mind opening. It's eye opening to think about what I heard this morning. I never been on this person's channel. It just was on when I woke up. He said the loop that you get stuck in, dealing with trauma, you see, every day or every other day, they're messing with something in your home, some type of vehicle damage, something which will develop that PTSD. The cycle continues. Within that cycle, he was explaining, once you are in that loop, have you ever heard of flight? What is it called? Fight or flight. That's what it's called. Fight or flight. The loop will have you stuck in the flight or fight mindset. Not only will it have you stuck in the flight or fight mindset, it will also delve into your physical body's reaction, your immune system. I mean, this motivational speaker went deep. The fight or flight concept will lock in because now you're in the loop of the gang stalking. You're in that loop, fight or flight. It now starts to mess with your body. Hmm. Your your body starts to literally break down. Guys, I was like, wow. Although a lot of us try to take care of our bodies as much as we can, there are still physical ailments that can still take hold. Just like last week, I had to go get some dental work, and I had to get a tooth pulled, and I wanted it pulled before the pandemic actually hit, but I kept procrastinating and procrastinating until it got so bad. And then when the lockdown happened, I was like, gosh, I should have got it pulled, because you know how that made everything, doctor's appointments and everything got pushed back. And so when this happened, I'm glad that I got the work done. And I mean, everything that I have been seeing is coming into full circle from a lady giving a speech about the first thing that you need to take care of right now is your body. And with everything speeding up, and these messages are coming at me hard and heavy, because like tonight, with me trying to do a broadcast, and the broadcast, I deleted it because it's coming in sketchy, it's coming in choppy. And that shouldn't happen regardless of what device I'm on. My tablet, they wanted to mess with, where the audio was just messed up. And then I broadcast from my phone, and then it's always like choppy, like we're back in 1985 with VH1 tapes. It's fuzzy, it's stopping, and then I'm like, oh, okay. They want that physical reaction of you getting upset, which brings you back to the trauma of everything. Although you might not think of the first day you woke up to your gang stalking, every day, every new day that you wake up, and it may be something as small as moving something around in your home, or you coming home to something damaged, or your car being damaged. It might not be the exact same thing as your first initial shock to waking up to being gang stalked, but it is part of keeping you on the cycle. So once you're on the cycle, you cannot begin to manifest new and positive things into your life, because you are not thinking further, or you're not coming off of that hamster wheel of a cycle to get your mind to open up to where you could be, regardless of what your enemy has planned for you. Because we have to realize the enemy has always existed. It's just that we, as chosen ones, we as targeted individuals, there is something so very special about you all, that we are the laboratory testees. Who will break, who will not break, who will stay on the hamster wheel. You see, when I started to see the Most High move in my life, with moving people out of my way that I didn't think would ever get moved out of the way for me, I believe that started to take place because I stopped focusing on them. I had no hatred towards them. I know that sounds um, crazy. I can recall the person where this at this my job. I can recall telling that person to repent, telling that person just simply repent, and you know, I got the crazy looks, the crazy stares. But you know what? Even when that person lost their position and was very upset and had done damage to me as a person, I literally gave them a hug. A hug. Never did I receive an apology from this person. Never did I receive any help for any medical bills, nothing. Never did I plot revenge on that person to hire somebody. Never did I have family members go and tell them to go hurt that person. Those thoughts, no, didn't cross my mind. The person who, the last person to leave, because I won't go down the list. I'm just trying to give you all for instance of how I changed my mindset towards people who did ill will towards me. When I say much love to you all after every broadcast that I do, trust me, I had this conversation with my mom yesterday, and I don't know if she thought I thought love was that fuzzy, warm feeling. Love was just jumping around in dandelions in the sunsets. Love, no. Love is about action. That's what love is about. It is about action. You see, it's what the Most High did. He displayed action when he said, "For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son." See, he gave, that was the first action. But what he gave to us through Yahweh Shai was the word, the teachings. Keep my commandment. That was the love, you see. And by you understanding and having that love for one another, your actions will show your love. So don't get it twisted. Don't think that I think love is about pink and fuzzy things. No, it's about action, keeping the commandments. That is what love is about. You see, I have always seen the good and the bad in people because we all can act up at times. Just because you are chosen, just because you are a targeted individual, does not mean you don't have a temper. Doesn't mean you don't have good and bad days. So the last person to be moved, the last mountain for the Most High to move out of my way, that person, and a lot of people don't understand what we call, when I worked in child development, we call it the sandwiching effect. When you have a conversation with someone, when we had to have conversations with parents, and see, parents are very particular about their children, because every parent thinks that their children is great, right? Some of them do. Some of them, they might not care for their children. But for the most part, they think that their children can do no wrong. So when I have conversations in my day-to-day and I have to bring good news and bad news to someone, we use the sandwiching effect. We tell you first the good news. In the middle, we slide in the bad news. And then we end it with more good news, more positive reinforcement, so that when I serve you this sandwich, this meal that I need you to digest and understand, it's not served hard. Do you understand me? So that's why I say I see the good and the bad in people. And I was expressing this in a conversation, a full conversation that I had yesterday with the person that was moved out of my way. Was so very, very smart, super intelligent. You see, this person, it was like a walking calculator. And it blew me away. I mean, in this business, I deal with everything from accounting on, and I need a calculator. That is not my forte. That is not my lane at all. Okay? A lot of people, well, now I don't say a lot of people, some people will put on a persona like they can do everything. But we call those a jack of all trades. Okay? A master of none. This person that was moved out of my way, I remember when everything took place, he had just come aboard. But he felt that he had to be part of the group that were already intertwined in mess that was happening. And I was telling my mom, and I said it from day one to now. Had he, and I told him, this particular situation has nothing to do with you. I actually liked him as a person and respected his ability in the field that we are in. And I told my mom, he is super smart, but he couldn't stand on his own. Even at a higher level, at that high of a level, he couldn't stand on his own. So giving a sandwiching conversation with him, that's why I told him, this has nothing to do with you. Trying to reassure that was the first slice of bread. Okay. The second slice of meat, cheese, whatever is in the middle. You know, this situation is not too great. This is what happened. Okay. The next slice, to make this sandwich a complete sandwich. You are smart. You're a genius in mathematics. Boom. The sandwich is complete. And that has been the meal I have served to him from the beginning. He couldn't comprehend that message. You see. And that is, it's sad to be in a position of power and you feel that you have to be a part of a pack when you don't. You see, standing alone, but standing with integrity, that that's what gives you your power. Standing alone with integrity, with love. You see, love, like I explained to you all before, it's not hugs and the kisses, it's the action. And what comes along with that action is making the right choices, the right decisions, judging activities and people wisely. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. The action he gave Yahweh Shai to us. Yahweh Shai being the Word. The Word. Everything that we need to know. Everything to guide us throughout our walk. You see, for us not to break those commandments will help us on our walk. That is the love. That is the love that I wish to you all after every broadcast. That you do things with action, with purpose, and your judgment be wise. Have integrity. Because no matter what, God is going to make a way out of no way. My situation not only reminded me of Daniel and Goliath, but it reminded me of Joseph. Having your own family members betray you and sell you, like most of us have been betrayed by family members. Sold down the river of doubt, the river of disbelief, sold into slavery, into the market of gang stalking. But if we take on the lessons that Joseph did, although he was sold into slavery, into the market of gang stalking, while he was there, his integrity was still intact. The love that he had for the Most High, when temptation came his way in the form of the Pharaoh's wife, trying to tempt him to sleep with her, gang stalkers, trying to tempt you to commit a crime, to have outbursts, gang stalkers who want to keep you in that loop, on that cycle, on that wheel, not coming off of that wheel and igniting your creativity. No, Joseph was in the slavery of gang stalking, you see. But he did not succumb to Pharaoh's wife with the temptation. Matter of fact, you strong, chosen ones and TIs, you get these gang stalkers so riled up that they scream out, like Pharaoh's wife did. And therefore, some of us wind up in places and situations that we would dare not want to be, like Joseph. After Pharaoh's wife cried out, wound up in jail for a crime he did not commit. You see, Pharaoh's wife used the R word, that word that takes away a woman's dignity, that strips away something precious. She used that word against him, which caused him to be in prison. The cycle of gang stalking can drive people to suicide. That cycle of gang stalking can cause people to have outbreaks and wind up in prisons, places that take you further down the road, down the rabbit hole, further running on the cycle. But Joseph, having the love of the Most High in his heart, knowing who he was, and now being in a deeper and darker situation, having the gift that I implore you to look at your situation and things in life. What has come to you over and over again usually gives you hints to what your gift is. As Joseph on that wheel of gang stalking that landed him in prison from lies, the setup, we know that everything is a setup for us. And you might wind up in prison due to lies, false allegations. But they know that we hold a gift. Just like Joseph held a gift. You see, he had it when he was a young child, but he did not know that he had a gift. Just like you and I didn't realize and are coming to realize that you have a gift, and that's why you were sold down the river. You see, when Joseph was a young child, he had a dream. In that dream, he saw his mother in the dream as the moon, his father in the dream as the sun, and his brothers in the dream, he saw stacks of wheat, and they all bowed down. And when he woke and he told his, and I'm paraphrasing, so I hope you guys go to the Bible and look this story up. When he told his brothers and he told his father of the dream. Well, you see, those gang stalkers and those parents that may at times or at the time sell you down the river, they won't realize the gifts that they have, because when he told his brothers the dream, they were so furious with him because they said, what do you mean that we are going to bow down and worship you? Joseph didn't have the gift of the discernment of the dream. So Joseph was asked to tell the dream to his father. And his father said, what do you mean your mother and I will bow down to worship you? See, the whole family was gifted. The father and the brothers were gifted with discernment, deciphering the interpretation of the dream. Joseph was a young child at that time before they sold him down the river of gang stalking, betrayal by the family. They didn't realize their gifts that they had. All his brothers could focus on was their jealousy. Just like your perps can only focus on their lack and the light that they see exuding from you. But they yet to have focus on the light that was given to them because of their hurt, because of their trauma, because of the cycle that they may have encountered. They couldn't see that their dream was discernment, deciphering, understanding the meaning of the dream. So their anger and jealousy set their brother up. The anger and jealousy of your gang stalkers will try to set you up for failure at every given turn, not realizing if they turn away from their dark ways, they make him focus on their gift. You see, Joseph wound up in that prison, being falsely accused, sold down the river by his family, betrayal by the perps. But once in prison, he met other chosen ones, other TIs. But just like on these YouTube streets that we've met each other on, every TI, every chosen one may not fully be chosen. You have infiltrators. But while Joseph sat in that prison, I want to say at least 7 years in a dark hole of a prison, falsely accused. The Pharaoh's baker, and there was another servant of the Pharaoh, I can't remember what he actually did, were thrown in the prison for some deed that they had did or didn't do for the Pharaoh. See, when they were thrown in the prison, I believe they were to decipher a dream for him. No, they had a dream, both of them. And you see, no matter what your gifts are, whether you be amongst people who you feel that are chosen and targeted just like you, sometimes when you relay a message, it's hard for people to understand it, to comprehend it, because it might not be the message that they want to hear. But it's the message that you must relay. So the two servants of Pharaoh had dreams. One had a dream that he was cooking and he made something pleasant for the Pharaoh. And then one of the servants had a dream that he did something, his eyes were plucked out by birds. Well, you see, when Joseph gave the meaning to these dreams to his so-called new prison roommates, so-called targeted individuals, camaraderie he thought he had, displayed. Well, you see, most of us would not want to hear a dream being relayed back to us, the meaning that our eyes would be poked out. Shortly after that, the two targeted individuals, chosen ones. The Pharaoh's workers were released from prison, and Joseph said, well, if you see the Pharaoh, remember me. Joseph never had his mind set to stay in that prison hole, on that cycle, on that hamster wheel, the targeted individual cycle, the chosen one cycle of negativity. When he got the opportunity to imagine being free, imagine the opportunity to relay a message. Tell the Pharaoh to remember me. The Pharaoh, shortly after that, had a dream, and no one could interpret that dream. But you see, his former servants that had been thrown in the same hole, his former targeted individuals, his former TIs, chosen ones, they remembered Joseph. And they remembered him deciphering and interpreting their dreams. But the one that heard the dream that his eyes got plucked out, well, you can imagine he was not going to help Joseph at all. The baker told the Pharaoh about Joseph. Someone one day is going to tell the right person about you as chosen ones, as targeted individuals. Your life and everything that you are going through is not for nothing. It's about enduring to the end, finishing the race. Men and women. You see, Joseph was summoned to see the Pharaoh. Just like you. I can't tell you when, I can't tell you where. But you will be summoned, or someone will come and notice your works. Notice your integrity. Notice your gifts. Although they might not even be someone you would have thought might not be the same race as you, may not be the same sex as you, but they'll notice you and give you the opportunity to speak or demonstrate your gifts. And that's what Joseph got the opportunity to do, was demonstrate his gift. And he deciphered and relayed the message of the dream, interpreted the message for the Pharaoh. That baker that knew Joseph had a gift, but was upset at the messenger. A lot of people will be upset at you for your gifts, for the message that you relay or display, your actions. But do it with integrity. Do it with no malice in your heart. Do it with love. Joseph had no control over the dream that he gave to one of the servants. Shortly after that, that servant did succumb to that demise of the birds plucking his eyes out. And Joseph, well, you see, I believe if we endure to the end, your reward will come swiftly. You see, the Pharaoh ruled all of the land. No one but the Pharaoh had say over the land. Once Joseph told the Pharaoh about his dream and the meaning of his dream, the Pharaoh rewarded Joseph, second in command, precedented. You see, before you even talk to the Pharaoh, you would have to talk to Joseph. And Joseph ruled wisely because he continued to have dreams and he continued to use his gifts. When the Pharaoh saw fat cows and skinny cows and wheat, and he couldn't understand that dream, well, you see, Joseph told him, well, famine is coming to the land. 7 years of famine. But Joseph was put in charge of what to do. Stock up. Build more houses or grain feeds, whatever they built in those days. Put grain 3 years in this storage. Half the grain goes here. Other lands may come and purchase grain from us, but we will store up. Before the famine even hit, 7 years, they were in a land of plenty. But the gifts that the Most High gave to Joseph understood the dream that the Most High gave to the Pharaoh. Famine is coming to the land. Get ready. You see, the ones that have betrayed you, the ones that have sold you down the river, famine is going to hit their land as well. They will not always be sitting on that so-called high horse that they think that they are sitting on right now. All of the things that they have done to you. Well, you see, famine is coming to the land. Understand what your gifts are. Because famine hit the land, Joseph's hometown, homeland, which forced the very people who targeted him, the very people who betrayed him, the family members who didn't believe him. Well, you see, famine came to their land. Famine is coming to this land as well. Great troubles are getting ready to take place. You're going to have love in your heart. And I hope that you've been here from the beginning. When I say to you, love is not the cozy, warm feeling. Love is action. Love is keeping the commandments. So with love, pray for wisdom. Because famine is coming to this land and the very people who have sold you down the river. The very perps who think that they are riding their high horse. Well, you see, they're going to have to cross your path again. Just like Joseph's brothers had to cross his path and come into Egypt, where Joseph was ruling. You see, hold on, let me plug this up. But just like Joseph was ruling, he was in a land. Hold on, guys. That he had to learn the language and look like the people of the land. Well, he was a ruler. When his brothers came into the land, although Joseph was sold down the river, betrayed just like the majority of us, he knew who they were. So you will know the people that will have to come back around and face you again one day. You will know them. They might not look the same, exactly the same, but you will know them. In the prophecy that Joseph had, the dream that he had when he was a little boy, well, you see, his brothers had to bow down, not even knowing that they were bowing down to their brother, who foretold this very moment in a vision, in a dream that he had when he was a child. His father was summoned to the land, and he bowed down to his son. The Most High is in control of all of this. Joseph told them his dreams as a young boy, not knowing how to decipher and how to relay what he was seeing. That gift, you see, came later in life. The gifts that his father and his brothers didn't even realize they had, the gift of discernment, didn't realize it because all they could see is someone beneath them, someone who they thought was beneath them, telling them that one day they would have to bow. And they did. Because Joseph saved Egypt and many of Jews from famine that had hit the land. But he did it with love. He did it with action, keeping the commandment. Get off of the cycle that they would have us on. The last mountain that was moved out of my way, that was hindering, making life very difficult financially. You see, people perps, family members may try to hinder you. Be wise in the way you move out here. And if you get off that cycle of thinking, well, in that motivational speech that I heard this morning, once you start thinking beyond that hamster wheel, well, you see that also helps with your immune system, boosting it. And this is the kicker here. It helps with love in your heart. What ignites more creativity. Yeah, it unlocks that door. You see, chosen ones and TIs are created by nature, by God, the Most High. They want to lock you in and dim that light, keep you on that cycle, weaken your immune system. Let the spirit of depression enter in, help with your demise. Be like Joseph and be wise. And in the end, well, you realize, like us as chosen ones, us as TIs, famine has come to the land in more ways than one. So, what's your plan? Will you store up grain? Will you be ready? And most of all, how will you deal with these perps? GangStalkers in the end. Because all of that is going to make a difference. You see, Joseph was never born in Egypt. But when he died, he was buried as royalty. His wishes for his burial, his family's burial, everything that he wanted came to pass. And these things will happen to you, but you must stay the course. And most importantly, get off the wheel. So I'm going to just pop these up here really quick. And I think I did say hello in the beginning. Alright. Have you cut off your family? No, I talked to my mother. My father passed away in 2020. I express negativity sometimes. Yeah, we all get frustrated at times. I mean, that's natural, right? It's just how you handle it. You know? Cycles and breaking cycles. Yeah. And that's so interesting that it just seems like it came all to fruition with this cycle and what that motivational speaker was talking about this morning. And how I could see how this gang stalking is, and even the Most High deals with cycles, because you have the cycle of the sun rising and the sun setting, the moon rising and the moon setting are going down, and women have a cycle. It's a cycles. So if you know anything about Satan and the demonic, they are copycats, so they must have cycles. You get it? And that cycle must be putting you on that hamster wheel. Something else. Ways of thinking. Trapped people, they have a hard time changing their minds. And that is so true. Survival. Physical body. Yeah, you know, and that's something, especially in the last days, guys, which we are in. Your physical body is something that they are trying to destroy as well. So if within this program, and if you know me, I've always said it's spiritual along with everything that they can use with technology. Okay, so if you're getting hit with electricity and all of these different devices, even sound waves, like for me, I know that I can hear different sound waves at first, but then sometimes I can feel them because I'm like, what? In different places. These waves and these pulses, this is doing something to the body. And we know this is slow kill devices, slow kill techniques. So if your immune system is being weakened by, first of all, dealing with untreated trauma, but nevertheless, you have not dealt with your untreated trauma in a negative aspect, but trauma is trauma and it's still there. Well, then, if you have um, environmental disruptions, because some people don't understand about energy weapons and things of that nature. So if you have environmental disruptions happening to you, along with your body being weakened by you being on this cycle and not thinking further than this gang stalking program, well, that is just helping to aid in your demise, you know. So, okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yes, they are definitely a joke. But, and then they really just don't believe or understand the joke is on them. Oh, whoa. Let me see if I can focus my eyes to even read all of this. They using the food to control the people. Oh, yes. And get their digital things going so that they can lock off. Oh, was that what? Lock off? Or is that supposed to be knock off who they want? They want to close everything on Sunday. Oh, well, yeah. That's part of. Let me put that up there for people to read. Um, your last sentence. They want to close everything on Sunday as part of the beast system. That's part of the one world order, where they have everyone worshiping on one day. No matter what religion used to be, there's only going to be one world order, one world religion, and that Sunday law will come into effect. You are so right about that. Hey, Nikki Nicole, I'm just coming in. Hope all is well. Yes, indeed. Thank you, it is. I get the sound frequencies. It deals with the body. Okay. Yeah, I figured that is another level to weaken us, if you get that. But especially the mind. Yes, indeed, it hits you in the head. Yes. So, guys, and I wasn't even thinking to come on and talk to you guys as long. I was just about to vent, to tell you the truth, about how they are a joke. But that, when I was gonna do the video earlier, I was gonna talk about, how the cows here in Kansas, well, Texas and Kansas, they died from the heat, and more of the food supplies is being just cut, just diminished. I mean, chickens last week, barns were set on fire because they said they had some kind of disease. Trust and believe. It, know this, and I've done videos before. The elite, and I say the elite, not your perps, because the perps are like the foot soldiers. The elites are set up. The elites are already in underground cities. The elites already have all of the original seeds. You see, heirloom seeds are what they're called. Not hybrid seeds where they've mixed up, not mixed up with GMOs. I hear people say, go get seeds. Yeah, you can buy seeds that are in stores, but if they're hybrid, they you see, they can encode those seeds with a time lock that will prohibit them from growing. So you won't get foods and vegetables, and the Satan is wicked. His schemes and plots are wicked. Okay, they have a vault, and I want to say it's in Switzerland, with all of the world's seeds in this vault. Uh, Heirloom seeds, the original. That when you have an original seed, that means it can regenerate, produce itself once it's in the right environment, such as fertile lands. Guys, the substance and foods that are still edible, um, stock up on what you can. This is truly not a game. I mean, it was foretold in the Bible and Revelations that a day wages will be the cost of bread, a loaf of bread, a day's wages. So, depending on where you are in the world and what you have done, a day's wages will be the cost of a loaf of bread. Um, so imagine that. I've told people time and time again that in Europe, when Hitler uh, started the war, that the Dutch mark was worth nothing. That people burnt the money to keep warm. People had money in wheelbarrows. It meant nothing because inflation. And if you cannot see for yourself Even if you don't believe in the Bible, everything that's happening now is what the Bible foretold. Inflation is linked with your money being worthless. If you have to pay $5 a gallon, $8 a gallon, that means your money is being brought down to pennies, meaning it's worth nothing. If they couldn't take out the majority of the population that they wanted to take out with that massive code that spread across the world, well, you see, crippling the food supply chain. Well, if that is not the most satanic and devious plot to ever unleash on mankind, you know, starvation is a slow and painful death. And that is what is getting ready to be unleashed. It's not getting ready, it has started. Starvation. There's so many stories in the Bible that talk about starvation. Seas, where they seize cities. You see, there's a siege happening on the world. And when they seized a city, you see, well, horrific things started to happen. After whatever could be pillaged was pillaged, and hunger could not be sustained, well, you see, you had fathers and mothers started eating their own infant, their own children. I talked about being ready as women. That might, how can I say, that might make people uneasy because they're not ready to wake up and realize that pure horror is coming to a street near you. You see, there are already towns that are not sending their police officers out because, you see, they don't have enough men to dispatch. So a lot of towns, and this is not due to Black Lives Matter, no. This is due to inflation. Yeah. So they're picking and choosing where they're sending their police officers to. But that is just part of the plot and the plan. Chaos must ensue. If you wonder why it seems like time is speeding up, because it is. This famine must take place. Anarchy, chaos must ensue in the streets. So, if people, even if they weren't spies or just, you know, subscribing and unsubscribing, maybe they unsubscribe because I'm telling you like it is. I'm showing you what you can have as a woman to keep any kind of protection on you at all times. When you think about America and you're sitting in your living rooms, in your cars, in your workplaces, and you think about America in the so-called good old days, know that they are gone. If you want to reminisce, well, get a movie because those days are never coming back. When I was younger, I used to watch movies like Mad Max, the Thunderdome. This is after war has taken place, and in movies where you would see people saying broadcasting, or can anybody hear us out there? We're broadcasting from a town or a city. Is anybody alive? Is anybody out there? We've all told you the movies, they tell you, walkie talkies. You see, what you need to start putting in your mind is everything that starts to revert, everything that starts to go backwards should be in your mind right now. So, these phones and devices that we are on now, when preparing for what is to come, and it's coming swiftly, it's not going to stop it from coming, but your transition into what is getting ready to happen can be somewhat easier. The glory days of America started falling when the Twin Towers were hit. The money was gone. Start reverting your thought process. If I'm talking to you on your phones, you should have walkie-talkies in your supply kit right now. You should have an old-fashioned radio, AM, FM. That sounds ludicrous, I know. You see, someone will still be broadcasting on those radio systems. We have come to listen to FM radio. AM still will be broadcasting. Communication lines still will be tried to be upheld. Walkie-talkies can be used until, well, like you're seeing now, when supply chains have totally collapsed, well then, of course, you won't have the option of getting batteries and replacement parts. But until that time, that is your aid into transitioning. Anarchy must ensue. While you have so many people on these YouTube streets, TikTok, and relationships and gurus and battle of the sexes. Why women ain't doing this, why men ain't doing that. You really should be trying to find out who's trying to network into having safe zones. Watch the movies, guys. The movies that show you people like, what was the movie? Will Smith, when he was the last man in New York City. If you haven't started making plans to get out of the cities, well, you plan on dying a slow and painful death. I'm not here to scare you. It's in the Bible. The Most High said, flee the cities, or unless you want to be like Will Smith. The last man in the city, when disease took out all the people in the city. No, these movies are not going to tell you exactly how it's going down, but they give you great hints. When they tell you it's a concrete jungle, it most definitely is a concrete jungle. If they're cutting down on police patrols in towns, well, soon they'll be cutting down on cargoes of food supplies being brought into the cities. It is definitely a concrete jungle. Get out. It'll be worse than the purge in the cities. Yep, it'll be worse than the purge. So, when you're thinking about what's taking place, think about survival in the reverse aspect of survival. How did they survive during the Great Depression? What were some of the foods that they cooked with? You see, not even to be funny, but a lot of black folks know about survival food if you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. But you may have to start to do a little more homework regarding survival. Survival in the aspect of your family. Medical supplies. Flowers. That you can walk outside and start to understand what type of plants that are growing while you take a walk to strengthen your endurance, your body. Think about grabbing one of those books that you see in your supermarkets that have all those little flowers on them, and they tell you what these flowers are for. These are preparation skills. You may not think you may need them, or they may never come. You know, they may never be handy. But I tell you, things are changing, and don't wake up to anarchy and you're not prepared. Yes, indeed. Woe to those that call evil good and good evil. Yes, indeed. Whoa. There, that's what it was. I Am Legend. That was your favorite movie. Yeah, that movie, I mean, it has so much of what's going on in it today. If it wasn't the great code that struck the world, well, then it's something that they're going to try to get you one way or another with monkeypox. And you know, we seen that movie. It was Outbreak with the monkeys. I Am Legend. Well, I said a few minutes ago, communities. While we're sitting here having the battle of the sexes and women don't respect men, masculinity, and the woman did this and the... Really? We're stuck on that? How you can't see the forest from the trees. Before I get out of here, I'm going to tell you one last quick story. My first time becoming a supervisor, working with people and people's personalities. understanding how people's mindsets work and understanding my mindset and trying to come into that position heavy handed, demanding. Well, you see, the people that were under me became quiet when I entered the room, standoffish. In my mindset, you see, I couldn't understand it. I just wanted a particular order, and I like things to be done in a particular way. I like the room to stay clean, artwork to be switched out, to understand the operational procedures of a facility, and I agreed with those procedures. But see, I was young and I had not understood the personalities of different people and how to make those personalities gel and work together. And sometimes, if you're wise, you'll reach out. Maybe it might be somebody younger than you that you'll have a conversation with. Maybe it might be somebody older than you that you'll have a conversation with. And they'll give you some sound advice. But be wise enough to understand that you may be the person that needs to reach out and get some counsel. So I reached out and I called my mother and I explained the situation of the ladies in the room when I entered, how cold, and as soon as I entered, I could hear them talking and having conversation. But when I entered, it was like they were in boot camp. And I didn't like that atmosphere. And so the counsel that I received was, well, have you talked to the ladies? Do you actually know them and how they feel about their position and where they work and their aspirations and their strengths and their weaknesses? Well, that had not crossed my mind. I was a young supervisor and I wanted it my way or the highway. When I heard that message, I went back in and I didn't make a scene. I pulled each of them one by one and I talked to them. And I asked them how they felt about me, first and foremost. And I didn't like the answer. Because basically, they all felt that I was too strong willed, unapproachable. Then I asked them, did they like working with children? All of them said yes. You see, at the facility that we worked with, we had to report to trainers, we had to have parent conferences, we had to journal the development of the children. I had to schedule training time for the staff as well. Pictures had to be hung up at eye level for children. I did not like things hung up sloppily, and everything had to be in order. So when I asked each staff member what did they like about their job in the room and what they disliked, I got different answers. One lady said, I can't stand hanging the artwork. Check. One lady said, well, before you came, I never got training time and I'm behind on my training. Check. So they gave me their grievances. After that happened, I had a meeting with all of them together. By this time, I know they had talked amongst themselves, but they didn't know that every last one of their grievances I took into consideration. So when you told me your likes and dislikes, for one young lady, she did not like to hang the art, but she did like to do the paperwork. You see, in an infant room, you have to have inventory of milk and baby food and make sure certain aspects are documented. So I went around the room and went through their likes and dislikes, their strengths and their weaknesses. And I told them, from now on, this caregiver will have this task to do. And this caregiver, well, they like to hang art. They are more creative in that aspect. I rearranged their likes and dislikes, strengths and weaknesses to fit them as individuals. And I told them what I expected after implementing these changes. And that if at any time that their likes and dislikes changed, before I noticed the problem, to come and talk to me and let me know that they have grown, because that's what people do in life. And maybe they have changed and wanted to reevaluate their duties. After I had that conversation in that meeting, well, you see, our room, well, everyone wanted to come work in that room. It made a world of difference. To understand people, not only yourself and your needs and your likes, and how you as a person would handle something, but understand the people, especially the people that may be under you. It'll make a world of difference. Other than all of the back and forth that I see on these YouTube streets, the war between the sexes and the gurus and the the distractions. Sometimes I wonder, maybe we should figure out the likes, the dislikes, the strengths, the weaknesses of people. Put that into action and make an action plan. Not for just yourself, but for community. Yes, you may find out a woman can drive a big, what is those, 6-wheelers, 8-wheel truck. You might find out a woman can drive one of those. Yeah. She might not be in the kitchen. She might be the woman that is driving that big rig right through your town because you knew her strengths and you made a connection as a man, not putting a woman only in the kitchen, but that woman may, as her routes through your town, drop off supplies that you may need for that man that might know how to cook the supplies that that woman dropped off because he was a chef. Times have changed. Skill sets have changed and been developed. Maybe you should have a meeting in your mind. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses of people? That is what's going to make a difference. And I'm out. And much love. One day at a time. Oh, that was perfect. And much love.